You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
Hello and welcome back to Up the Turnpike here on YouTube. What is going on? Matt O'Leary with Mitch Anderson. Mitch, a couple of coaches added to Patrick Waugh's staff today. I figured we'd hop on the mics and talk about it.
It looks like Lou Lamoriello didn't extend absolutely everyone, right?
No, so a couple names that you should familiarize yourself with. Ray Bennett and Bob Boughner are additions to the Patrick Waugh staff. This should round it out, right? Because they retained the goalie coach. They also retained Thank you. I was trying to think of who Patrick Waugh brought in last year, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But added two more to this coaching staff. So let's start Ray Bennett, and then we'll get into Boughner in the second half. Spent the last 8 years with Colorado. It's been their power play coach. Before that was in St. Louis. What was your reaction, and what do you think of the hire?
So of the two names, Bob Boughner has the more household recognition, but I think as you were putting it when we were just talking beforehand, Ray Bennett is the bigger hire for us because his pedigree in terms of just coaching the power play for, as you mentioned, Colorado, as you mentioned, St. Louis, but also Team Canada. The guy brings a hell of a resume in terms of power play efficiency to the Islanders, who desperately need it badly.
So I think some Colorado fans may be looking a little bit too much at the most recent playoffs. They struggled on the power play in the playoffs this year. I think they were 14th of 16th teams. But if you look at I just pulled the numbers on the last 4 seasons to take a look at. They were 24.8% in the regular season this year, which was 8th, 24.5 the year prior, which was 5th, 24.5 again, which was 6th, and then 24.0, which was 7th. So at worst, you're looking at 8th over that span. Now, obviously, context is important. Colorado's roster is better than where the Islanders are, but over that same period, Islanders 31st at 12.6 this year, 20.3, which was 19th the year prior, 15.8, 30th, and then 22.1 in Barry Trotz's last year, which was 12th.
Yes. Some people are going to be like, man, he was in Colorado where he had guys like Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon. Absolutely. We're not asking for this guy to step in and take us from worst to first on the power play. We're not asking for that. We're asking, can you get us to around 20%, somewhere within I'm going to say 18 to 22% within that window. Can you do that? Arguably, yes, based off of those results. Of course, again, he has those superstar players at his disposal. But as we mentioned, he was with the St. Louis Blues. And in that time, if he was there for 10 years, from 07 to 17, and he got that power play to function with guys who are, as the patrons have said for us in the Discord channel, they're not slouches. So he's got guys like leading in terms of power play efficiency or power play points over the 10-year gap. You've got Shattenkirk, Alexander Steen, and David Backes. Good players. Good players. But you're not talking about elite level, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar type players. These are half a point per game players at their peaks. And still, he had this power play humming at 18 to 20% pretty consistently. There's 3 years where he was sub 18%. One was the first year, one was 09-10, and one was the other one. I think it was 11-12. It was 11-12. But after that, 20-ish, above 18%. That's what we want, man.
Yeah, so league average this year was 22.1. They were 31st and at 12%. If they can get, I think 20 is the number for me. Looking at 20 for the power play, 80 for the penalty kill on special teams. That's kind of the numbers. They're nice round numbers that I like to use. And obviously you might be plus or minus a few, depending on the year and situation, stuff like that. But take a tangible step forward. If they go from 31st to somewhere in the teens, like 18th in year one, okay, good improvement. Obviously you want better than that. We're not just being like, okay, we settle, but take a next step the next year, and you're just building it in the right direction, hopefully at that point. But as stated, if you're watching hockey content in June, you're a diehard, and at home that the Islanders power play has been horrendous for a long time, and they desperately need to improve that.
Yeah, it was stinky Pepe Le Pew styles. And it's not even just an idea of X's and O's. They need a proper power play philosophy, even because their power play it wasn't just even an issue of not having the right strategy. They didn't seem to know what they were supposed to be doing just as a whole. So you need a guy to step in saying, this is the type of power play we want to play. I assume it's going to be like Mathieu Darchet in his press conference. We want to play fast and in possession, which is what you want to do. Move that puck with poise and purpose on the power play, which the Islanders never friggin' did. And hopefully that'll help, and we'll be able to have success even if we don't have those superstar talents like the Colorado Avalanche has. It seems that Bennett could help us do that.
He's going to have a number 1 pick, and likely Matthew Schaefer is going to be that player, we think. Yeah. And I mean, what a nice clay and mold you have to use on an 18-year-old and get him into whatever you want your number 1 power play defenseman to look like. Maybe he does turn him into a Kel McCarr-like player on the power play.
Yeah. And it's what's going to help is the guys around him, right? Can they actually convert?
Yeah, it's obviously going to be huge.
But you got a guy able to lug it forward. You're going to have more than just Matthew Barzal to take it out of your defensive zone and into the offensive zone.
Shocker. Yeah. Bo Horvat hopefully scoring some goals. Kyle Palmieri's back. Get him one-timers on the offside. Something, I don't know. I'm not the power play coach, but Ray Bennett brought in, likely to take over the Islanders power play, which is in desperate need. What about for Boughner? What's your reaction on that one?
So he's got the bigger name, right? Because he was a head coach in Florida, did relatively well. I thought he got the short end of the stick in Florida, where he was given a really young team, and you're like, why aren't you able to get us into the playoffs with this really young team? Or like at least really young in terms of their core players of Ekblad, Barkov, and Huberdeau were all below 25 years old. The other two, I think, were 21 and 22. Like that's low, and he still got him to almost a 600 wins percentage, just barely within the playoffs. And then they cut the cord quick because they could get Joe Quenneville in again, which did not go well for them. I guess his job, they don't say it in the press release by the Islanders, but I assume, you can correct me if I'm wrong, he's probably going to be coming in to do the penalty kill, right?
I would think so. That's what he did in Detroit. And I mean, this past year, not good. They were the only team worse in the NHL than the Islanders were. 32nd in the league at 70.1%. The 2 years prior, kind of just middle of the road, 79.6, 14th, and 78.3, which is 19th. Obviously, not nearly the resume that I think Bennett has from the special team side. But if you're looking for the positive spin on it, he does have head coaching experience, and it just adds like another vet to that bench.
Yeah, and it's also the idea that clearly he said something that the Islanders like, right? He's not coming into this job going like the league placed him there, right? The Islanders had to interview Bob Boughner and ask him, for this role, I would imagine, what would you like to do with our penalty kill? And he said something that they liked. Whether that actually works or not remains to be seen, but it's clear they did not like what John McClain was doing or had done on the penalty kill. And what Bob Boughner is going to do is, I can only assume, again, will be different and should thus have better results. Of course, who knows? But they believe that he's going to do what they want the penalty kill to do when he gets in that position. And that should, in their opinion, yield better results. So that should be a positive sign for us.
Yeah, and I think I'm interested to see stylistically what changes that they make to the philosophy, right? Like, is it maybe they even use different players on the penalty kill? Like, there's been veterans like Cizikas has been here forever, and he's been a long time penalty killer. JG Pajot, kind of same deal. Mayfield, Romanov, like maybe they just change it up personnel wise too, in addition to philosophy. Yeah,
like we talked about the Detroit Red Wings. I wonder if we can pull up. That's not going to be on the NHL. I want to look at their. I'm going to try to do this relatively quickly because we don't want to be here forever. But who logged in the most penalty kill time? Is it going to be some of their star players or younger, more exciting talent? Right? Could we see ourselves talking about putting Barzal on the penalty kill? Arguably not blocking shots because he's lost the season for doing so. But maybe we can see him, operate there and be one of those like breakout players, kind of like what Grabner used to do for the Islanders. You got a constant shorthanded goal threat.
Yeah, looking at Daily Faceoff has listed the top penalty kill unit as the two forwards, Comfer and Mott, and Edvinson and Sider as the defense pair, and then second unit, Marco Casper and Lucas Raymond and Ben Sherratt and William Legason.
Yeah, so you're not seeing a ton of like DeBrinket's not there, Larkin's not there, Raymond isn't there either.
Second
Maybe
unit for Raymond.
right. So you're not seeing them on the top, which tells you that he's not going to come in, probably not going to come in and start saying we need to be playing Matthew Barzal on the penalty kill, which is relatively fine because again he did block a shot last year and missed his entire season, so we don't want that to happen again, just to maybe score a shorthanded goal, maybe.
Yeah, not worth it.
No. So maybe he just comes in with different X's and O's because I imagine he's going to use pretty well the same players as we've been using going forward.
Yeah, we've seen, as mentioned, the guys for a while who've been a part of this unit. Daily face-off list for the Islanders. First penalty kill unit, Pajot, Holmstrom, Dobson, Mayfield, and then second unit, Horvat, Palmieri, Riley, D'Angelo.
Yeah, so we're seeing a pretty close to the same type of setup, right? You got two controlling offensive players. You got one really hard-nosed defensive player and one who might be able to move that puck going forward. A little bit more mobile, if you will.
Yeah, who knows? I obviously we mentioned on the power play side, you might have Matthew Schaefer, but do you think I know 18-year-old rookie first year in the league might be a tough ask, but do you think he gets penalty kill time?
I don't think so. No way. No way they shoot him in the foot like that. That would be catastrophic.
I don't know. Maybe they'll be like, hey, you're playing 25 minutes a night. Go.
Maybe. Right now, we don't expect anything. If you suck, you suck. That's fine. You're going to learn from the sucking. Learn from the suck type of thing. Maybe. I don't want that to happen, but if we see it happen, that's the copium I'm going to give myself.
Okay. What about, I'm trying to think. Who should we look at? Who's a first overall pick or a high pick that played right away in the league recently? Darlene, I guess. I mean, Owen Power too, but
Owen Power or Darlene are the two last number one defensemen taken.
Okay. I'm putting in Darlene and seeing how many minutes a night do you think he played in his rookie year?
I'm going to say 21.
2109. That pretty much nailed it. Owen Power, let's see where he's at.
18.
By the way, 21 minutes was also where Cal McCarr came in. And I know he was 21 and, a few years removed from the draft. A little bit more, 2205 for him.
Ooh, look at that. They really wanted to get him out there, and that didn't work so well for them, I guess. I'm just not sure if he's going to get that kind of penalty kill time. They're going to want to coddle him. I just can't see them go out there and suck. But again, maybe. And then I'll all up in the copium is what I'll be.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to come in with a lot more changes philosophically to how he approaches the penalty kill, but he's going to probably, I would assume, come in with a different approach in terms of X's and O's, a little bit more aggressive pressure, right? Because the Islanders did a lot of collapsing, right? Going, we're going to give you the perimeter of the ice and you go ahead and shoot, kind of like what Barry Trotz did, but it's clear that, John McClain didn't have the X's and O's that Barry Trotz did. And so didn't know what to anticipate when approaching that, when that having that philosophy, and it backfired massively.
It did. It did not work. So a much needed change. Islanders add two new names in Bennett and Boughner and round out their coaching staff. So just wanted to come on quickly here. Any final thoughts on either one of these guys, Mitch?
Not nearly enough French Canadians on the bench for me. Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, the GM and coach is French Canadian. So shut it there, buddy.
Yeah, if I really wanted more French Canadians, I'd cheer for the Habs.
That'll do it for us on this one, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new to the YouTube channel. Check out our work on Patreon as well. Gets you 2 bonus podcasts and access to the Discord. I'm Matt. He's Mitch, and we'll catch you next time.